Hello, and welcome to this month's episode of our Diversity and Inclusion vodcast or podcast, depending on how you're listening. It's called Addressing the Elephant in the Room. I'm Lindsay Bridges, and during this series, I will be exploring DHL Supply Chain UK and Ireland's journey on our D&I agenda. We'll be addressing a range of diversity topics through discussions with colleagues from across our business. You only have to look at any news report in the UK at the moment to hear about the shortage of HGV drivers. Logistics companies across the country are looking at different ways of attracting people to the industry, and in DHL Supply Chain, we've been working on how to diversify our workforce. I'm delighted today to be joined by Helen Flanagan, and she's going to discuss Women Behind the Wheel. So Helen, great to have you on the programme today. Why don't you just start by introducing yourself for me?
Hi Lindsay. My name is Helen Flanagan and I'm the operational lead for our Transport Development Centre. Our TDCs are our DSC UK home for all transport related training, so whether it's driver related training or training that's designed for any of our other colleagues, it sits at TDC. And we've been operating for about 18 months now, so through COVID time. So it's been a really exciting time for us to roll out some new training products.
Brilliant, Helen. Thank you for that. And just, I know that we've got a product that we particularly call Driving Ambition. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Driving Ambition is a really exciting scheme that we have within the business, in that it is our licence acquisition scheme, which is fully funded. So it takes away that barrier, that blocker for new entrants into a driving career, whether they be internal colleagues existing or whether they are candidates from the outside market. So we support colleagues all the way through the training, and at the end we give them a job and career development opportunities. So it's a really exciting way for us to set ourselves apart from the rest of the industry.
And a brilliant way of attracting new people into the business who may not have thought about joining a logistics company before.
Yeah, absolutely. So much of our work in the last 18 months has very much been about existing colleagues and career development opportunities. We're in the process now of really switching that and really driving some engagement with the external market, and I guess targeting different groups of people that may never have, as you say, have thought about having a driving career. So we're very active now in our external comms and advertising some of our exciting roles to the external market and training people through into those roles.
Brilliant. Well, picking up that point about, those groups who may not have thought about that before, it's widely reported in the UK that only about 1% of HGV drivers are female. Now, we've been talking to some of our female drivers to ask them how they're doing, to understand a little bit more about how they feel about working in this, quite traditional male-dominated industry. So let's have a listen now to some of the audio clips from three of our drivers, from Amy Kramer, Wendy Jones and Joe Byrne.
What is it like to be a female driver in a male-dominated job? Well, it's brilliant. I just feel like a trucker. Same as the guys, equal. Truckers treat each other the same. We do the same job, drive the same truck, do the same work and help each other out. I just feel like part of a big extended family.
Being a female in a male-dominated job can definitely be interesting, but for the most part it's more of a shock to people when they find out that you're a female lorry driver. It can be really daunting when you first start and you go to a new site or even to the petrol station, because you are watched continuously. After so long, I think you kind of get used to it though. There is definitely a very small percentage that still think that women shouldn't, or maybe that they can't do the job. But I've only really had kind of more of a positive feedback. There's definitely the odd joke here and there about people helping you more because you're female. I'd like to say I find it a joke, but there is a little bit of truth in that, I will agree. All in all though, I find working in this industry so much fun. The banter you can have and some of the people that you meet is so refreshing.
Being a female in a male-dominated job, I find it a really interesting challenge. There's definitely more females now in the industry from when I started back 15 years ago. It's really, really good to break the misconception and to take the gender stereotypes out of a job. And it's always quite a compliment when people say, oh, I didn't think you could do this job. Oh, how can you drive a truck that big? And to try and inspire others to do the same thing, really.
So, Helen, it's fantastic to hear that our female drivers are so positive about their role, but how do we help, new female drivers, new drivers in general into the business, prepare for that role, prepare for that, maybe that shock or surprise, that reaction that they might get?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say that new roles, new careers can be daunting, and there are some challenges along the way. Of course there are. The way that we support new drivers is through a buddying system. So new drivers, whether they're experienced or not experienced, will have a buddy on site, and that buddy will help support them through the first few weeks and months of their employment, help them with any minor issues, raise any training concerns, and be a sounding board, and generally just someone to look out for and be able to have a conversation with at any point, as well as supporting them through their training effort. We also have driving ambassadors in the business, and we actively promote women as driving ambassadors to help encourage other women into the industry, and again to be that little network where there is a familiar face and a familiar person to speak to, and we find that that's working really well for us.
Super. So a couple of things I heard there: the buddying system that really gives someone that peer that they can talk to and help support them maybe a little bit more formally than just trying to establish their own network. And then these driving ambassadors who've got a role to actually really formally help us in terms of developing our brand and that job as that career as a driver. Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's have a listen now to the second audio clip where we hear maybe some of the misconceptions in the industry and how we deal with that.
I think the misconceptions I faced personally was telling people what I wanted to do, and I was laughed at a few times. You're told that you won't be strong enough because you're female, or you won't be able to deal with certain situations. And we definitely have got a name for being bad drivers, or as a lorry driver, it's just driving as people see it. Driving is lonely. That's what another thing people will always say. But I always found that pushing what everyone said that was negative to the side and just proving it to yourself and to other people that, being a female doesn't mean it's going to stop you from doing a certain job.
I would say there's quite a few misconceptions from the job, even from when I started up to now. There seems to be a huge misconception in the HGV industry that once you do this job, you get no work and family life balance, that you get no social life, that it's not a job for females, it's a really heavy job, it's ridiculously long hours. But I'm a working mom. I've got 2 young children. I get home to bath and feed and put them to bed every night. Flexi working's out there. That was a big win for me. I expected it to be quite isolating, but it's only as isolating a job as you allow it to be. Smile at other people, speak to them when you go in services, delivery points. I thoroughly enjoy the job.
So Helen, I find that really interesting. Here we have an experience from a driver who's a working mum who feels that actually she can easily do this job and fit it around her responsibilities as a parent. What sort of feedback do you hear from our female drivers around that?
I mean, Lindsay, we have probably around 200 transport sites, and many of those operations are offering flexible working. They're offering different sorts of shift patterns. So I think it's fair to say that every site isn't going to work for everybody, but there are lots of our operations out there who are offering shift patterns, which mean you don't have to be out overnight. And as the clip said, you can be home at a reasonable time, do the number of hours that you want to work, and still have your family, your social life, and all the stuff that we all want to do outside of work. So yes, those opportunities are absolutely there.
I think that's great to hear, isn't it? And you're right, it's not every opportunity is going to be like that, because clearly we have a service to provide to customers across the business that is 24/7. But superb to hear that, some operations are able to offer flexible working that might suit any working parent, not just a mum, by the way, but a dad as well, or anyone with caring responsibilities. So that's fabulous to hear that.
Yeah. And it was great to hear more about the social side of it as well, in that, the job can be a little bit what you make it. If you choose to make it more sociable and chat to people at the delivery point and make those relationships, well, again, it makes your working life easier, doesn't it, on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. Very interesting to hear that. Different personalities coming through there. So let's have a listen to the third video clip, and we're going to hear from our female drivers about their advice to others. So let's play that clip now.
What I would say to any women considering being a lorry driver would be 100% go for it. Don't let anybody tell that you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it, because it's only for you to decide, and I have never looked back since starting. You get so many different experiences, you get to meet new people, all different kinds of characters, which is great. You get to see so many new places. If you love driving and you love being on your own, it's great fun. My children absolutely love being able to tell people that I'm a lorry driver, and I actually feel very proud of myself when I tell people that I do it also.
I would say to other women looking to get into the industry, go for it really. If you think it's something that inspires and something that you might enjoy, there is so many different roles within HGV driver, different industries, different sectors, that if you pass your test and you start a job and it isn't for you, find something else. Find the job that fits you. Find the job that inspires you and keeps you getting up every day, keeps you focused with the job, keeps you excited to go back to work. You haven't got to work silly hours. You can be a working mom and enjoy driving a truck. I certainly do. My twins are nearly 4, and I still really, really enjoy my job.
What I'd say to other women is anybody can drive a truck. The advancement in the trucks and the health and safety means that there's no reason why women can't do exactly the same as men. It's a level playing field now. Try everything. Some work you might not like, but persevere and you'll find what you do like. Ask for help and take the offer of help, not because you're a woman, but because you're in a new pass, and it will help you learn and improve, as practice makes perfect. And just be positive and embrace every challenge you face, and you'll be fine.
A massive amount of pride, of encouragement there, of advice to others in terms of just going for it. Helen, what would you say to anyone considering a career as an HGV driver?
I just love that piece there about role models that we just heard, and I couldn't agree more. And as we mentioned earlier, every role isn't for everybody, but I think within the organisation we have such a range of roles and shift patterns. I think the other thing that's worth picking up on is, and it was mentioned in the clip, we have a fleet of very modern trucks, with all the electronics and everything that you'd ever require. It's like driving a car, it's like driving a modern car with all the latest features on. So the days of the heavy gearboxes have all gone, it's a completely different game. So I think it's a really exciting opportunity for everybody, female or whatever. And I think we've got such a range of roles. We've got a great team. We've got some really inviting, warm operations that will make people feel welcome and provide not just a job, a career, and with some great development opportunities in the future for those that want to sort of move on. And I think what is really great to see now is not just more females coming into driving roles, but we're now starting to see females coming through into our training roles. So a number of our driving assessors are female and so on. So it's really great to see people developing in the career.
And Helen, why is that? What is it that we've done that has attracted more females into those roles, both even driving and into the training and assessing roles?
I think we're starting to see some payoff from our external recruitment campaigns that use the driving ambassadors that we've talked about previously. I think we are starting to have to think differently. So we are making those more flexible options more available, and we are starting to promote those more and giving people the sort of shift patterns that they need, to have a modern life and a family, male or female.
No, that's great. Thank you for that. So Helen, just want to wrap it up now. Maybe if you could just give us your sort of short closing message on, what's your aspiration for the Transport Development Centre for Driving Ambition for the next 12 months?
So we're at the beginning of an external campaign to promote driving ambition and to recruit from, I guess, different cohorts of society than have traditionally been LGV drivers. We know we've got an ageing population, so we are looking, at a much more diverse range of industry entrants, and we're currently in the planning stages of that, which will be launched very soon, and we're starting to take new colleagues through into those new driving roles, and I hope very exciting driving careers. And I think as a team we're really excited to welcome those new entrants into DHL and to the industry, and hope that we'll have some great success in changing the demographic that we see behind the wheel.
That's brilliant, Helen. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your experience and the aspiration that you and the team have. And I just want to thank again Amy, Wendy and Joe for taking part, for recording those audio clips and for really giving us that insight from some of our women behind the wheel. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay.
So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Watch out for our next episode coming next month to hear more stories about diversity and inclusion from across our business. And as ever, you can watch us on YouTube or you can listen to us via Spotify or iTunes. Many thanks.